Yeah, what it looks like in the church. There's really two things. So I want to talk about a church supporting discernment counseling in their community, using it as a resource. And then I want to talk just a little bit about if a church wanted to really draw this in and make it an integral part of their own ministry, what does that look like? One of the things that Dr. Doherty, who along with Dr. George Kenworthy helped to develop the faith-based version of discernment counseling. One of the things that Dr. Doherty reminded us as 12 pastors and therapists in the Twin Cities gathered together to work on this for about 2 years. He said that sometimes the church forgets, they have the self-image problem, that they think, oh, everybody thinks church is irrelevant and, church attendance is going down and, the esteem of people, of pastors and all of that seems to be going down in our society. He said in his experience as a social science researcher, families, even if they're not religious, oftentimes when they're struggling with parenting or with their marriage, will reach out either to a community of faith, even if they don't go to the church. They'll look and see, does the church have anything to offer? Or they'll reach out to a friend of theirs, someone in their sphere of influence that they perceive as a person of faith. And I think some of it is intuitively, people kind of know that marriage and family and parenting are so core to the human experience that there's got to be some wisdom outside of what we as human beings can grapple with. And so if churches were even ready with a referral process to say, if you're struggling, we're not going to do the process here, but we partner with discernment counselors in the area, and we can quickly connect you with someone who, one, will lead you through a respectful conversation. Both of you will matter. No one's going to take sides. But there's someone that will be able to do it and bring you to the place where you can answer that question before you lose hope, before you are faced with being backed into a corner many times, thinking the only option is divorce or separation. Out of dignity and respect, the church can be a place that points to discernment counselors in their community and says, we care about marriage and we care about you. And here's where we would really recommend you go to find some clarity before you make an irrevocable decision. The second part of that is when churches really want, and this is what's been so encouraging about working with Sammy, and I am doing some consulting with a couple of churches. When pastors and church leaders put the value and the health and the saving of marriages in the DNA of their mission and vision statement, they then move marriage ministry to a different level. It's not just a program like small groups. It's one of the primary ways that they are saying home and family, God's design for family and marriage is so important to us. We're going to provide 3 things for our couples. We're going to provide good premarital education so that they get a strong start. We're going to support them as they're growing, helping good marriages get better. And we're going to have a safety net when marriages struggle, like most of ours do. Well, the safety net is really where the discernment counseling piece comes in. And we encourage churches to look at the totality of what they can offer marriages. We don't want them to be thinking their whole marriage ministry is about saving marriages from divorce. They have far more to do than that. But oftentimes churches will just assume that when couples get to the place where they talk about divorce, there's this awkward conversation. Pastors don't feel equipped. They were not trained as crisis counselors. Most lay people are trained in marriage enrichment, but they're not trained in how to have this conversation to help a couple be willing to seek help before they give up. And so discernment counseling is really helping to flesh out that safety net piece that a church really should have for their own couples that are struggling, but then it's also a place that they can offer to the community. And it's one thing for a church to say, we've got a referral list of people that do discernment counseling, which is wonderful. Mm-hmm. It's another thing for a church to say, we're so glad you raised your hand to say you're struggling. Guess what? This is a church where struggling is okay. We all struggle. And we have people in our church who've been trained to help you walk through a process to answer this one question. It's very similar to what some churches have done in terms of finances. They'll do Financial Peace University. Some through Peacemaker Ministry will have attorneys or other lay people who are trained in helping believers reconcile issues and differences between them and conflict resolution. So this really fits into the redemptive mission of the church. And churches can either engage it in one of two ways, either by just being aware of and supporting the discernment counselors in their community, or secondly, they can begin to really think through, what is our marriage ministry? What part does it play? Where is it in the level of priority in our vision and mission statement? And so we do help churches and church leaders think through that.